This didn't come with all the pieces, and this is bullshit.
Are you putting together Legos? So wait a minute. So the Lego didn't send you all the pieces?
I say this every time, and then I find them. But right now, I'm sticking to my story.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fair.
Lego is going to get a strongly worded email from Jordan about this Mario Kart thing.
Lego, if you're listening, please send me free shit.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get another beer.
Are we going to start this thing?
I mean, probably should.
You're not waiting on me.
My wife told me earlier, and I quote, you're still going to be at this at 10 o'clock. And I was like, nah, we're supposed to start at 8. Hunter will be late, even though we just recorded right before this.
That is impressive.
She said we would start at 8:40, and it's 8:43. So
there's the cold open. Hit it.
Your mom's a cold open.
Are you ready?
As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be a home run.
You know, they have those nerds clusters, which is new. Yeah, which is good. 10-5! Touchdown!
Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in, but the cream rise to the top, oh yeah.
What are we doing?
Wild long faces, we're not dead yet.
Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
Welcome to Press Box After Dark. Today is Thursday, April 17th. And boys, we have a Masters champion. Rory did it. Cam, I know you're a golf guy. You were with me, right, on this? Were you rooting for Rory? I know there's a lot of Rory haters out there.
It was tough for me because whenever I watch golf, I don't have like a favorite golfer. I tend to root for the Americans, and so I was really hoping that Bryson would do well. But I also like Rory. I mean, he's a face of the game, and people's opinions on him have been up and down throughout his career. But I feel like he's gotten to this point where people just respect him, whether or not they like him or not. So it was really cool to see him win that. And it was cool, obviously, for multiple reasons, because he completed the career Grand Slam, which I think I saw he's only the 6th player to ever do that.
Yeah.
And he did it. He got his first 3 within the first 3 years that he was on the tour, and then didn't win another one for 11 years. So for him to avenge, and the one that he was missing, obviously the Masters, he completely gave away in 2014. And so for him to come back 11 years later and avenge that was awesome. And he was also avenging his meltdown last year when he gave away the U.S. Open to Bryson. So that was really cool. It was cool to see him overcome a lot of up and down play during that final round. And the reaction was pure. It was genuine, and it was just really awesome to see.
Are you a Masters guy? Like, do you sit down and watch it? Like, what do you is that your thing?
Oh yeah, it's definitely my thing because, I mean, you think about it, the other 3 majors, they rotate courses every single year. And so I'm a big fan of like just pristine courses, and I've got every single Masters hole like memorized in my mind. So like I'm thinking every time a player steps up to the hole, I'm thinking like, okay, how is he going to play it? Because there's so many different ways you can play some of those holes. And so it's like art almost, just seeing how they attack the course.
I was like riding the roller coaster with Rory on Sunday, and I just was glued to the TV the whole time. And they were like, well, let's go to the garage. So I went out and I was like, well, okay, but I got to put this thing on the damn TV. Like, it was awesome. It was awesome. Landon, you a Masters guy?
I love the Masters. It might be sacrilegious, but we were actually playing golf on Sunday during the final round. I was watching it while we were playing, but
weird.
I was putting on the 18th hole as Rory missed his putt, and I literally had my phone in my hand, and I seriously dropped it because I was like, holy shit, how do you miss that?
Did you make yours?
I picked it up because I wanted to go see the playoff.
He didn't even finish his
What is
round.
It's a gimme.
It's a gimme. It was like 40 feet from the hole. It was fine. We shot like 105. It was not a good round in the first place. So
kind of like there was a guy at the Masters that did that. Oh my
yeah,
god.
yeah. But don't get ahead of me, Zach.
Oh
That's
yeah.
my hang the banner.
We'll get to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
But
get
no, I love the Masters. It's a tournament that I haven't gotten the privilege to go to yet, but I want to so bad.
You'll be there next year.
I knew it was coming.
You
I
know
knew it was
somebody.
coming.
You know somebody.
I'm
Hunter,
gonna
are
take
you a
Cam
Masters
with me.
guy?
Yeah, I think I was telling Kat this. I think the Masters is the only golf tournament that I watch start to finish, and then the other majors I will turn them on Sunday, and like you'll get the ESPN notifications of the leaderboard, and that's it. But the Masters is the only one that like the first round on Thursday, it's on my computer at work. It stays on my computer all day, and then on Saturday I'm watching. Sunday I'm definitely watching. What a win for Rory. It was a roller coaster. Cameron hit all the high points that I wanted to talk about. And then I'm a Landon. Like, I've never been to a PGA event. I want to try to find a way to win the lottery one time and go to Augusta. Because I even got Kat hooked on this Masters because she's not really a big golf watcher. And she was glued to the TV. And even she was like, how did he miss that putt? And I was like, that's just Rory. He's snake bit. And then he goes to the playoff because, I mean, Rose had to make an incredible putt to even get to 11 under. So, I mean, the nuts on that guy to step up and do that was so cool to watch. And then onions. And then he misses the putt. And then you're like, how is he going to come back from this? And then greatness happened. And when you watch a moment like that, it's one of those moments in sports where you're always going to look back on and you're going to know to yourself, like, well, I'm never going to miss that trivia question at the bar when they say, who won the 2025 Masters? Like, oh, I remember that shot for shot. It was that good.
Oh,
It's
my
funny.
God. It was crazy.
It's funny you mentioned having it on at work in the background. I saw a tweet that was like, productivity drops 97% during Masters Week across corporate America.
I believe
Everybody
it.
is heads down in their computer working on a project, in quotes.
I believe it.
I got a couple thoughts on that. One, nobody does better than the Masters with their website and the app.
Absolutely.
It's the greatest thing
Well,
ever.
And I was going to say the obviously I mentioned how I love the course so much, and so I'm locked in for that reason. But the presentation behind the Masters is second to none. And I think the only other tournament, I mentioned the other majors will, cycle through courses, but the only other tournament that kind of comes close to that is the British Open. And I love that tournament so much as well, to the point where like I will wake up at like 4 or 5 a.m. to watch the British Open just because
it's the history behind both of them. It's, that's why it's so incredible whenever you watch both of those tournaments. Just because, I mean, think of all the things. Like, you remember the 2019 Masters whenever Tiger won after coming back after X amount of years. Like, it's one of those things, and we don't want to forget about Jordan here because, he's a big golf fan. But it's just incredible. And, I mean, Augusta has its history, and it's always been there for forever. I saw something that they had to cancel it in World War II for World War II, and they let cows graze on the course and eat the azaleas, and it's just awesome. I love it.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's the best, and it's such a weird sport because you don't have a team. Like, you could pick a player, I guess, and like only root for that player. I've never done that. I don't really have a, but it seemed like every time something good happened for Rory, the place went nuts. Like, they were all for Rory over the weekend. At least it's what it felt like. But
you think about it. This was his 11th opportunity to get a career Grand Slam, and since 2014,
and his 17th Masters.
Yes.
He's 35.
Yes. It's crazy. And by the way, Bryson turned pro in like 2018. People forget about that. People think he's old. He might be older, but he's not that old in golf terms of how long he's been pro.
Rory tried to give that thing away 25 times. It was
Good
awesome.
thing Bryson gave it away more.
They kept saying, "Man, that's the shot of his life," and then he'd go and mess it up, and then he had the shot of his life. Oh, and then he had the disaster at 13. Oh my gosh, it was awesome.
I think too, to piggyback off of Cameron's points again, because he did such a good job. That was really good, Cameron. To that being the last leg of his Grand Slam is the same course. He has to play the same course every year. So, I mean, I've heard it multiple times throughout the week leading up to it. And then after he won it, you hear the same thing. It's like he had to answer the same question every Sunday, year after year after year. And it's not that, oh, well, this course doesn't play well to me and I couldn't figure it out. It's the same course. It doesn't change. It's the same one, and it's so difficult for him to get over it. And to see him finally conquer that demon, it was pretty cool.
Did you see his press conference, Hunter, where he sat down and he was like, guys, what are we going to talk about next year?
Right. I know. And now I'm like, oh, is he about to go on a run now? Because he's been playing good golf.
Yep.
And so I'm like, oh, how many more tournaments is he about to win here in the next couple calendar years? Can he go do it again? Like now the monkey's off his back. I don't know. That was awesome. Oh my gosh, that was awesome. Jordan, what did you do on Sunday? Did you watch it? Like, I know you're not really a golf guy.
Green jacket, gold jacket, who gives a shit? No, I did not watch the Masters. I did not watch any of the Masters.
Hater.
It's not that I hate golf. It's just that I legitimately forgot that it was Masters weekend.
Yeah.
And I had a sick wife. We had all kinds of people at our house. So I didn't get to watch any of the Masters. In hindsight, I wish I had watched at least Sunday because the way it sounds and the way Twitter made it sound, it was awesome. But the last one that I watched from Thursday to Sunday was when Spieth won, which was a long time ago. But I do usually watch at least a day or two of it. But no, it didn't happen for me this year. I will say this, and I think I told Landon this a few weeks ago. Golf, more than any other sport, professional golfers, when you turn it on, the average person just watches it and goes, oh, I can do that. No, you can't. They make it look so much easier than any other professional sport. Like, I know for a fact I can't hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. I know for a fact that I don't want whoever the best linebacker is in the NFL bearing down my throat. But you watch golf and you go, I could do that. And then you realize, these are the best dudes in the world. And there's a reason that a guy like Rory struggles because the course is hard. But it is kind of a poetic ending for him to close out that the Grand Slam with it being Augusta, man. That's freaking cool.
It is. It's like the one sport that people just always play recreationally.
Yes.
So they just assume because nobody's playing like rec football.
Well, like Landon was talking about guys being old. Like what do professional golfers do when they retire? They go they
just keep golfing. Yeah.
Yeah, they play golf at a shorter distance to the hole.
And they get to ride in a cart instead of having to walk it. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
God, I will say I do think that the Masters, I think, Zach, it was you that said this, the presentation of it, man. What the Masters we got kind of a mass Super Bowl. We got an interesting national championship in basketball, I guess. But, like, the Masters might be the highlight weekend of the sports year so far.
And I just, like... You didn't have to log in with a TV subscriber to watch everything on the app. You can watch any featured group you want. Yep. You can watch just holes 4, 5, 6, just Amen Corner, just the TV It's all free.
Yep.
You don't have to go dig and find and pay and do all this shit. They're the best. They're the best at it. I wish other leagues and other sports would learn from it because it's a mess trying to watch. I can't even watch a damn Cubs game up here, but yet I could watch all 4 days of the Masters for free for however long I wanted, and it was on my laptop and on my work computer for 4 straight days. Like,
And on that
figure it
side,
out.
I was reading a thing because I'm a nerd. They leave about $297 million off on the table by not selling their media rights. CBS obviously is the one broadcasting, but they have 6 sponsors. It's AT&T and a couple others. And, somebody made the point of the Masters wouldn't be the Masters if it was, and now we go to Amex Corner, not Amen Corner, for American Express Corner. They don't sell all that stuff. And that's part of the thing. Their sandwiches are $1.50 to $3 whenever you're there. It's awesome.
I learned that
it's for the people.
I learned that their broadcast negotiation is on a yearly basis. So CBS has to agree, and this was like their 70th year in a row. I mean, like, it's always been them, but they'll have to go and come to terms again next year to have the rights again. Genius. I mean, they're the best.
Yeah, the single greatest thing about the Masters is the no cell phone thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I told somebody. You watch that final putt of Rory's in the playoff, every single person is locked in. There's nobody sticking their phone up in the air that they're never going to watch again, trying to record it. And I mean, guys, how many times have you watched a video from a concert or something?
Never.
I'm guilty of it.
Never.
I do it. I've never watched one.
Haven't watched a single video from the Iowa Final Four game that we went to.
Yep. So I agree, but Hunter, what are we doing here?
Yeah, what are we doing? What are we doing, bud?
Since that went a little long, but it's fine. Whatever.
It's fine. I didn't put the Masters in here because I was like, I know if I put it in here, we were going to talk about it for a while, and I'm glad we started with that just because it was that good and we had to talk about it. But no, we are Press Box After Dark, like Zach mentioned. If you want to help this podcast grow, you can follow us on Spotify and subscribe to us on YouTube. That is at Press Box After Dark. And then if you want to interact with this group, you can find us on Twitter at PressBoxAD. We try to stay pretty active on Twitter during any major sporting event or WrestleMania coming up this weekend. So we're going to try to stay active there. That's at PressBoxAD. And then on our Twitter bio, you can find our website, PressBoxAfterDark.com. We have weekly blogs posted there covering Major League Baseball, the NFL, college football, Survivor, you name it. We try to type something about it, try to stay involved, try to connect with people, and just continue to share this and continue to grow, guys. We gained 3 subscribers over the weekend on YouTube, so we're moving at a snail's pace, but we're getting there. So shout out to all the people that are subscribing to us. Press Box After Dark on Spotify and on YouTube. But I wanted to do a little different sports talk podcast because college football has been in the news. So I got 2 big topics for us for college football, but I want to start out by passing the ball over to Landon because we're not doing video tonight, but you can see he is wearing a Final Four hat, or we can see, not you can see, but we can see he's wearing his Final Four hat. And Landon was just recently at the Final Four in San Antonio, known city of Charles Barkley and all of his friends over there. He loves San Antonio. Landon, you've been to a women's Final Four with me and Zach. What was the experience here at this men's Final Four? Because it's not your first men's Final Four.
Yeah, so this is the first national championship I have been to. I have been to the Final Four before, but it just so happened that I was in San Antonio for training for a week for my job, and I was really confused whenever I originally booked the hotel because it was so much more expensive than what I usually stay down there. And I go and look at the nightly rate, and it's like Monday night is $690 for this hotel room. I was like, what the heck? And then I go and look, and I'm like, oh, it's the national championship. Sweet. And then I'm like, shoot. This was a couple months ago, and I was like, well, Tech has a chance. So I went and bought tickets. I was like, hey, let's go. I'm going to go no matter what. But if Tech happened to be there, go ahead.
Landon, how much did you spend on those tickets?
They're about $200 a piece before fees. I ended up paying $680 for 2 tickets because of fucking Ticketmaster. But
if you're listening,
Sponsor us.
Sponsor
But
some
also,
unpaid fees.
side note on that, we recently went to a Rangers game, and the MOB app shows ticket prices with all fees included. Really appreciate that. $52 all in. That's what it was.
There we go.
So, yeah. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So,
hat and bobblehead included.
yes, exactly. Yeah, it was a good night. But no, so I was like, hey, we're gonna go. It was the first day of training, and our people kind of let us out early, and they're like, yeah, go work on your case study. And I was like, yeah, that's definitely what we're gonna go do. And then we got home at midnight. So it was an awesome time. The national championship is really unique because there's a lot of people like me that bought a ticket because they thought their team was going to be in there, and they don't show up. There were a lot of sad Duke fans. Sorry, Cam. That were there, and I mean, everybody's sporting their own college, no matter if they're in there or not, and everybody's mostly involved in the game. But we were sitting up in the 300s, we could see fine, and everybody was like, up in our section was kind of like, there were some fans of specific teams, but most of them were like, oh, well, good job for whoever wins. So we were kind of going back and forth because the game was back and forth. By the way, terrible game in the first half. Nobody could shoot worth a shit, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I don't know why they kept throwing those 3 points up and just airballing them.
Is it because John Morant wasn't there?
It could have been that. Personally, I think it's kind of like Moody. How Moody has weird angles, and it's hard to shoot in a stadium with your depth perception is weird. But they also played on Saturday night, so it's like you did fine back then. So, but no, it was an awesome game. It was back and forth. It's exactly what you want out of a national championship.
Oh,
it's down to the wire. Everybody's into it. That poor guy for Houston at the end there. You got to feel for him. But it was an awesome experience. So I would highly recommend that to anybody. If it's in your city, just go and get some tickets.
Or if it's across the country in Minneapolis that one year. Didn't you
That
do
too.
that too?
I mean, we did have to fly into Des Moines to go to Minneapolis for the Tech Final Four.
Let's go.
And drive straight up 35, for another 4 hours.
So I will say when I was in college, I volunteered at the Final Four in 2018, which was
Heck
also in San Antonio, and I had a very similar experience. Just awesome time. They do a great job with like fan engagement and stuff like that. But I was working during the semifinals on Saturday, but then Monday we were able to go to the game. And the thing that a lot of people don't realize is like after the semifinal games, the ticket prices for the championship game just plummet because you have two fan bases who are essentially just going home.
Yep.
And not all of them. Like you're still going to see a lot of Duke fans. You're still going to see a lot of Auburn fans. But the other schools, a lot of their tickets just get sold, rapidly. And so when I went, I think our tickets were $100 a piece. And, we were like, dang, that's, a bargain to go see the national championship game. But it's cool. San Antonio is a cool city for the Final Four. When they talk about Final Fours in the cities that host them, they kind of categorize them into walking Final Fours or driving Final Fours. And Indianapolis is like the perfect city for it, which is why they've hosted it there so many times. But San Antonio is great as well. And it's just a great environment around the Alamo Dome. And it's just a great experience overall. If you're there for the entire week, like there's just celebrity after celebrity just like walking down the street. Head basketball coaches just everywhere. Like I probably, when I was there, I probably had 15 or 20 head basketball coaches that I just met walking down the street. And it's like, it's just so cool to run into those kind of people when you're not really expecting it. So it's a cool event.
And on that, Cam, I've got to give kudos to the Alamo Dome. It was the easiest entrance and exit I have ever had out of a stadium.
So
I
easy.
was in my Uber. Had we gone to the right exit and gone out the correct place to go to Uber, it would have been like a 2-minute walk over there. It was like a 6-minute walk. But our Uber dropped us off basically like a block from where the entrance was. We walked in. Security, they were using I forget what they're called, but they're basically like the keep all your shit in your pockets, metal
Open
detectors and all
gates.
that. Yeah, open gates. Yeah. Thank you, Kim. Hashtag game ops. And I mean, it was just awesome. Like they were just, I got into our Uber and I said, this was great. Like we had no issues. There was barely any traffic going back out because everybody was kind of going in different directions. So nothing got backed up. It was awesome. So I got to give kudos to the Alamo Dome for that too. It was a really unique time in there, and it was awesome. So
And the game was crazy.
and the game was crazy.
You got to get a shot off.
Yeah,
You got to get a shot off at the end. God damn it! That was...
I also paid $24 for a Chick-fil-A sandwich in there. It did come with a bag of chips, but that's the most that. Well, actually, I didn't pay. The bank did, but shout out them.
Shout out if you're listening.
Shout out Frost.
Did it come with a drink too?
No.
So you got chips and a sandwich for $24?
Yeah.
And nothing to wash it down.
Not even a Mr. Pibb?
Not even a Mr. Pibb.
Now, bad part about the Alamo Dome is we were up in the 300s, and it was built before people got fat. So the seats were very close together. We were very snug with our neighbors. So,
yeah,
buy 2 seats if you can.
Not a lot of leg room there.
No. And people kept getting up in the middle of the freaking game.
I've never been that kind of person. I'm the person where it's like I wait until like the end of a quarter or halftime to get up. I'm not going to get up in the middle of if I'm watching a football game, middle of a drive, I'm not getting up. But some people do that, and it just bugs me. Like, why are you making me get up out of my seat right now? I'm just trying to watch the game. Like, can you not hold your pee in for until the next media timeout?
That's why I love hockey, because they literally stop everybody and don't let you into the stands while the play is going.
Yeah. Also, it's for safety. They don't want somebody to catch a stray puck and die, probably.
Well, that's not really the case, but sure.
Stray puck.
Could be. Stray puck.
Sure that is.
Bang. No, that was awesome. I like when one of us or all of us get to go to a sporting event. We can talk about it because, I mean, all of us like having a background of working in sports. When we go to sporting events, we point out different things that the average fan who doesn't work in sports points out all the time. Landon's laughing immediately because he's got one.
Yeah, so I took one of my buddies that's a banker with me, and I was telling him, I was like, hey, you want to know the stuff that I look at? And he was like, sure. And I was like, look up on the video board. Do you see that one square of pixels that is just slightly off-colored of about yellow? It looks kind of like the state of Idaho. And he goes, damn it. Yep. And he's like, I can't look away now. I was like, yep, welcome to my life.
The same shit I look at. Yeah, I just look for everything like I work there.
Yeah. And then I'm like, man, if they just had Chris Shivo,
yeah,
they'd be fine.
We need you're just looking for like the 1912 American flag.
Yep.
That's 100% what you're looking for.
That's like off-white and not red.
And not hung in a spot designed for an American flag to be hung.
Everybody's doing this. Not sure
where to look. Everybody's like looking. They don't know where it at. It's up there somewhere, guys. You just got to find it. But no, I like when we get to go to sporting events. But staying in the realm of college sports and what's really been taking over Twitter these past couple of days here, the saga of Nico. I don't even want to.
Nico.
I'm leaving because he's leaving Tennessee. Let me break this down.
Hey, Hunter, real quick. I am also going to be leaving to go take a quick shit. So I'll let you guys talk Nico while I go take a quick deuce.
I love this.
I do love shit talk on this podcast.
Oh, gosh.
No.
Jordan, would you like to share some stories?
Nope.
Nope. So, no. I wanted to talk about this, the whole Nico situation. I'm not going to even try to say his last name because I'm going to butcher the hell out of it. So I'm sorry, Nico and his camp that's going to listen to this and demand us pay him money to listen. So here's what I have, guys. We're going to talk about the Nico thing, and then when Zach gets back, we're going to break down some hot seat talk for some college football coaches because college football, the offseason, we're right in the hype of spring ball for the teams that are still doing spring ball. So wanted to touch on a few things, but I have the whole Nico thing broken down in some bullet points. So let me get the bullet points across, and then I want to open this up to Jordan and to Cameron first. I know those two have very good comments on this. Here we go. So if you don't know, Nico, he was the starting quarterback at Tennessee last year, led them to the playoff. 10-3 was the final record. To my knowledge, I'm dubbing him the first player in college football to be a holdout. Okay? To hold out on his current NIL contract. I'm pretty sure it's been done before. It probably has, just not on a level this big with a player of this magnitude. So, because he was definitely the starting quarterback at Tennessee until he wanted to leave for the NFL. Here are his numbers from last year. He was 10-3 again, like I mentioned. They went to the playoff, lost in the first round to Ohio State. He averaged 201 yards a game through the air. That put him 76th in the country. That's not great. 63 completion percentage put him at 43rd. It's not terrible, but it's not great. Only 19 passing touchdowns put him 42nd in the country. He had a QBR of 70.5. That was good for 36th in the country. I will note, I'm going to give him a little bit of slack here because he did have the SEC's leading rusher, Dylan Sampson, in the backfield with him. So it's probably a reason why he only had 19 passing touchdowns. Probably would have more numbers there. But for a guy that is doing what he's doing is insane. So when he initially committed to Tennessee, it was said that he was going to get $8 million over 4 years from Tennessee is what he signed for out of high school. Okay. It was like one of the biggest NIL deals at the time. He was a 5-star quarterback. He's all these things, whatever. So he was getting basically $2 million a year. Well, he is now holding out, is how this saga started, to get $4 million a year and basically double his yearly salary for the remaining years of this NIL contract. And I say contract in quotations because there's no rules to this NIL thing anyway. So that's really what he was doing. That's the base of this. And I think the reason behind this is because whoever his agent is got in his ear, his dad got in his ear, and I think they're trying to get one more price hike on this contract or whatever you want to call it from Tennessee before the revenue sharing lawsuit from the NCAA gets dropped and the whole NIL model changes, potentially at least. I don't know how much it is going to change, but maybe players getting ridiculous amounts of money out in the open changes. So I think that's what their goal was here, was to try and capitalize on Nico from last year. But I just read the numbers, and obviously, he's replaceable because he had good numbers, but not great numbers. So he holds out. He goes into negotiations with Tennessee. Tennessee says, bump that, go ahead and enter the portal. So he decides to hop in the portal with interest from Oregon, North Carolina, and UCLA is what was reported. But then it was reported recently, as of yesterday, that North Carolina is now out after talking to Nico and trying to negotiate a contract with him. And more than likely that Bill Belichick, because yes, he coaches college football, is going to go after South Alabama quarterback transfer Gio Lopez, who is really, really good. Keep an eye out on him. He is sleeper good. And Belichick might have found a diamond in the rough there. So now he's out at North Carolina. Apparently UCLA, there's no talk of him really that was being true or not. I'm not sure if UCLA even wants to pay Nico that much. Oregon's out at this point. I'm pretty sure they announced today that they don't want to take him. So now it's looking like his market value is dropping back down to what Tennessee was paying him, according to NIL experts, if there are even those out there in this world. So this seems like a massive, massive failure from the camp. And I don't even know if I put all the blame on the kid itself, because I put more of the blame on this agent and his father trying to squeeze every last dime out of Tennessee. And I'll give credit to Tennessee here of saying, no, sir, you're not going to do that. We had an agreement. You're going to stick to that agreement because that's what we want to pay you. So big time shout out to Tennessee for doing that. Maybe this sends a message to other players in this transfer portal era of just hopping in the portal, demanding absurd amount of money, and now nobody's paying for the first time, which is big. I really am interested to see if he lands anywhere. I think it'd be hilarious if he doesn't. He definitely will, but I don't think he's getting that $4 million unless somebody under the table shows up that hasn't made their name public yet. I don't think he's getting what he's asking for, and this whole thing is just absurd to me. So I laid it all out, guys. I'm going to be quiet for a little bit. I want you guys to dissect it and what you guys think about this whole Nico situation.
Yeah, I'll go first because I feel like Cam's probably got a lot more on this than I do. The names I heard initially were North Carolina, UCLA, Tennessee, and Texas Tech. Tennessee and North Carolina have taken themselves out. So now you're stuck with, potentially, at least what's public, UCLA, a bad program, and Texas Tech, a good program that may be about to turn the corner, but largely an average program. And you're going to get less money to do it. You were just a 10-win team in the SEC. Now you're going to take a pay cut to go play for UCLA? Like, for what? Just to say you did? I think this hurts his eventual NFL value. I think the longer he goes unsigned right now, I think every second his value drops. Somebody will eventually come in and scoop him, but like you're 20 years old and you're playing for your contract when you could potentially be playing for a national championship again. And I think that if I'm a big time program, if I'm fill in the blank program that even needs a quarterback right now, I'm not giving that guy $4 million a year. He's not worth that to me. If I'm a middle of the road program, I'm probably already set at quarter. You don't think Texas Tech has a quarterback going into the fall right now? Of course they do. I'm not sure where he lands. I'm not sure it ends up being a Power 5 school if his price keeps dropping the way it is. And I think he's brought it all on himself.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a classic case of the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And I think it would be a lot different if he was like an Arch Manning or, a Carson Beck, like just super talented.
You got to know your value,
proven.
though.
Right, exactly. You got to know your value if you're going to pull something so bold like holding out. And I think he was probably getting bad information, as Hunter alluded to. And it's sad because, I mean, we've seen it in other sports, but it seems like, some of these athletes just don't learn that lesson. And I don't know if it's greed or if it's, truly thinking that you can do better somewhere else. But I think it was a huge miscalculation. Because like I said, he's not an elite like talent that would immediately get picked up by a huge program. Like he's certainly talented, but very raw, and not he's you can't put that big of an investment into someone that hasn't proven themselves like that yet. And
I think it's very interesting that the three teams outside of Tennessee that we heard right away were Texas Tech, UCLA, and North Carolina. Three pretty average football teams.
Right, exactly. And there's a lot of hype around, UNC, but for what? Like
nobody knows what they're going to be.
Exactly. And I just think, obviously it's the game has evolved into, chasing the bag, which is unfortunate. But, at some point you got to think about your long-term future. And if you're doing this, you have to know exactly what you are doing, the process, what you're getting yourself into, because the ultimate goal, I hope, for him is to make it to the NFL. But like Jordan said, or it may have been Hunter who said this, he is just tanking his draft stock, in my opinion, by doing this, because teams are going to see that and be like, oh, well, it's a complete parallel to exactly what happens in the NFL. But in the NFL, those athletes who hold out, those are your CeeDee Lambs. Those are your Jamar Chases. Like, yes, exactly. He is not a superstar in college football. He could, like I said, he's raw and he's super talented and he could evolve into that. but that's not something that big programs are going to be attracted to and going to want to invest that much money into without having some sort of proof that he is going to live up to that sort of investment.
And he hasn't. On the field, he has not lived up to what he was hyped as, which is
No.
fine.
No.
But
it's fine. He's a good player. He's just not.
Yeah, but he has grossly miscalculated his value. Can he go be a difference maker at BYU? Yeah, maybe. But he's not. You're not going to get a real school at a real conference to give you that kind of money because you're not that kind of player. The more this evolves, I keep wondering, like, legitimately, is Scott Boras this dude's agent? Because he's going to end up with less money on a worse team.
Yep.
I think like Cameron mentioned it. I think, in my bullet points, I think I said it because I tried to lay this out because it's been so wild. The fact that this is going to be, in my opinion, a big case study of where the first era of NIL went wrong is all in this case, because you have an agent who's he doesn't have to be a truly licensed sports agent, and the rest of Nico's camp, being his father and whoever else he holds close, getting in a young man's ear, telling him that he's better than what he is, people at other universities probably playing dirty and saying things that they know they can't back up just to see if they can get him in the portal to move. And it all happens so fast because you have a 20-year-old trying to make these decisions, and you have these people that are controlling him like a puppet. And that may or may not be true. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it is Nico just being solo on this, and it's like, I'm worth more than this. I want it, and Tennessee's saying no. So now he's dug his own grave. I don't think that's the case, but it could be. I think that this is the reason why at the end of this whole saga, this is the first stepping stone into somebody in Congress or NCAA or whoever finally putting structure to the NIL and the way that these kids are getting paid, the way that they have to stay at a certain school for a certain amount of years. Because when you have a Wild West like this, crap like this happens. It just does. Right. And it sucks because you have, like, I heard somebody mention this the other day, it's the money he was getting is from the fans and from donors. And so you're holding out and you're taking, the money they've already invested in you, because he's been in Tennessee for 2 years. If the contract that he agreed to as a freshman is true, you sunk $4 million into this kid before he's even 21. So now he's wanting to double that. And he led you to the playoff, but does anybody remember that Ohio State game? They got their pants pulled down on national TV. They got embarrassed. And so how do you, as a 20-year-old kid with bad people behind the scenes talking to you, go to these donors and say, hey, look, $2 million's nice, but if y'all give me $4 million, we're really going to take off. Like, what's the difference there? Maybe it's because I don't have $1 million, but like, to me, 2 million and 4 million, like, there's really no difference to me there. Like, you're getting a shit ton of money. Just be happy and play the game.
Yeah. And to your point that you made earlier, like, kudos to Tennessee for just telling him to walk, because at the end of the day, if I'm Tennessee, I'm like, okay, he's good. And, in the future, he could really help us improve. But like, I'm Tennessee. I can go and get someone just as good as him, or if not better, or I may have someone on my roster already here that can do exactly what he already is doing.
And I can go get $2 million for somebody else.
Yeah, they already got options, because I heard reportedly today that Sawyer Robertson from Baylor, starter at Baylor, already has talked about possibly hopping in the portal and being linked to Tennessee. He was a Mike Leach guy, and Josh Heupel is a descendant of Mike Leach. He's going to fit right into that offense. He's probably like, shit, I'll come to Tennessee for $1 million. They're going to save money on this deal.
Did anybody see the first play from their next spring practice after Nico didn't show up?
Yeah, he threw a pick, but like that's
no, the very first play.
I saw there's a podcast that I follow. It's two Tennessee guys. It's SEC Mike on Twitter. And I saw a tweet that it was the first pass he threw was an interception, but maybe that was the first pass of the second half.
I saw one that said the first pass that he threw was a 70-yard touchdown pass.
Oh shit.
Heupel just let him air it out.
Well, the thing about it too is that I feel like people are forgetting here is that Josh Heupel, it's a very good quarterback system. He has guys. So yeah, Nico has the tools that the other guys behind him don't have, but it's a quarterback friendly system. If you have somebody that's capable, they're gonna put up numbers and be fine.
Look, if you're a difference maker at that position, at that level, you don't lose 3 games. Just all there is to it, man.
I might disagree with that, Hunter. I think everybody behind him on that depth chart can run out of bounds with zeros on the clock on a 4th down against Arkansas.
Yeah, anybody can do that.
I think they all can do that.
I could do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy. I mean, I don't want to throw this out there. Maybe it's just because they're of the same descent. I mean, DJU is popping in my head with this kid. Just an otherworldly, this is going to be the greatest quarterback since the last greatest quarterback. And DJU went from Clemson to Oregon State to Florida State, and I don't even know if he made the UFL. I don't know where that dude is. But this screams to me DJU Part 2. Just me.
Yeah.
And they both have names you can't pronounce.
Fair.
But going back to what Cam was talking about earlier of what this looks like going forward or how this affects, the NIL and what the legacy of it is in this first rendition, I'm excited because the settlement with the NCAA and the athletes is finally coming in, hopefully this summer. And again, big nerd over here. So I'm going to read every single document that comes out of that. And right now, part of the structure that they're proposing in this settlement is a salary cap. And I believe it is a school athletic department salary cap of, I think it was like $21 million that the schools can use.
Ohio State is so screwed.
Do I think that's
and that's across all sports?
That's across all sports, exactly. So, and I'm really curious. I was telling Jordan the other day, I'd love to have his friend from Fresno Pacific come back on whenever this comes down. Because one, and I don't want to get too into the weeds of this, what effect does Title IX have on this? Are they going to require everybody get a fair share of this? There's just so many different layers of how this could go that nobody's wanted to touch it. Feds, states, nobody, because they don't want to get sued like the NCAA did.
And schools are cutting sports because of revenue share.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's just going to get worse. And I don't see how it's good for sports the way it is, and I think it'll be interesting to see what that settlement is. And I'll leave that for a future pod because again, I can probably go on about this for 30 minutes. So
I think what it's doing is it's making, well, obviously it's making college and pro sports the same, and I think that's what sucks. Like, they're supposed to be different. College football is supposed to be so different from the NFL, and it's becoming the same thing, and it just bums me out.
Zach, on that, I think it'll be interesting. I don't know if they will, in the settlement piece of it, I would love for them to put some requirements of, progress towards degree and that sort of stuff that was established by the NCAA previously of, hey, you got to have this amount of progress towards your degree, XYZ, to get this funding and all that. I don't know if they're going to do that. I would love that because they are student athletes. We've said that for forever. But is that going away? And what effect does that have ultimately on a college diploma?
They're not anymore, though. They're not student athletes. They're minor leaguers.
They are.
At least in college football.
They're athletes who have to get something written that says they're in class.
Shedeur Sanders was openly telling people he wasn't going to class in the fall because he was going to the NFL in April. And he certainly is not the only one. You telling me all of Kentucky's men's basketball players are going to class over the years? Come on.
No.
Hey, Cardell Jones, I didn't come here to play school. You know who it was? So I will say this. I think I mentioned it in the, and I think it was this group chat that there is a difference to me between NIL and pay for play. It's just turned into pay for play because name, image, and likeness to me is like, oh, if they sell a Nico jersey at Tennessee Stadium, he gets a cut of that.
Right.
Yeah, no crap, because they're buying a Nico jersey. I'm pretty sure everybody who bought one regrets that they did, but they bought it. He should get a cut of that 100%. It should not be these billionaire donors going up to kids and saying, hey, do you want to transfer? Because I got $2 million that I just made yesterday that I don't even need. Because, like, look at BYU's men's basketball team. Allegedly, their roster for next year is $10 million. Like, at a certain point, you're going to be priced out of sports, and there's no point in you trying to sit there and outpay other players or other schools because a lot of schools just don't have the funds. So it needs to be structured. It needs to get figured out. Hopefully we figure it out soon. But the Nico Saga, we will keep you guys updated, our loyal listeners, all one of them.
I think we're up to like 21.
Hey, look at us go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we will keep the loyal listeners who are not tuned into the Nico Saga updated, but I want to move on real quickly to one more college football topic before we hang a banner and get out of here. Spring football is about to close up. The spring portal is about to open. Some people are already in it. We just touched on that. I want to talk something different. The people who never really get criticized for leaving whenever they want to because they can just do it because they're adults and so they're coaches. I want to talk about coaches on the hot seat. So we have all four. No, we don't. We didn't cover the ACC because, who cares about the ACC right now in football? Nobody. But we're going to cover the three conferences that this podcast has rooting interest in. So give me your top 5 coaches of who you think are on the hot seat right now going into the 2025 football season from the Big 12, the Big 10, and then the SEC. So I put the order of Cameron with the Big 12, Zach with the Big 10, and then me and Jordan split the SEC. Do we want to stick with that order or do we want to switch it up?
Oh, look, Jordan gets to go last. It's a
I'm
draft.
fine with that.
Well, in Landon, you've got a rooting interest in the Big 12 as well.
I do, but I just let Cam do it. Also, breaking news, we have 30 followers. Just looked it up.
Let's go.
Almost one for every month in May. Yes, I did.
For
just
every
say that
month
wrong.
in
Yep.
May?
Mm-hmm.
I was muted. I said, shout out to all Hunter's relatives.
I finally subscribed to us.
So
right,
am I starting?
Yeah, Cameron, you're going
All right, so
first.
give me your top 5. You can either go from 1 to 5 or 5 to 1, however you want to do it.
I do have them in order. I'll start at 5 and get to the suckiest person at the last one spot.
I wonder who that's gonna be.
The thing in the Big 12 is that, and I hate to admit this, but you don't have, with Texas and Oklahoma leaving, you don't have your premier programs that expect so much out of their head coach like you used to. So a lot of the schools in the Big 12, honestly, have coaches that are safe. Either they're doing well enough to keep their job year after year, or they're new coaches like Rich Rodriguez, for example, that really you wouldn't really consider them on the hot seat yet. So I do have 5 here, but I will say the first 2 are probably the most unlikely of the group of 5 that I have, but I would still consider their seat warm and possibly hot after this 2025 season. So the first name that I have is actually Lance Leipold from Kansas. Had one unbelievable year with them in 2023, but his other 4 years have been incredibly underwhelming. And last year, after that 9-3 season in 2023, last year everyone expected them with Jalen Daniels and Devin Neal to just run through the Big 12 and have, possibly a 10-2, 11-1 season. And I think their final record was 5-7. They were not good at all last year. So, and Jalen Daniels is back. So if he has if he stays healthy, if he has a good year, like they could absolutely have a good season. But I don't see how you can keep that kind of run going at Kansas. Now, Lance Leipold is obviously the best coach that they've had since probably Charlie Weiss, but or how long is Kansas going to let him just be mediocre or bad? Like if he has another 5-7 season, I think his seat starts to get warm, possibly. Just with all the talent that he's had at Kansas and not doing much with it. But he is a phenomenal coach. We've seen it at his previous stops that he's been great. So I prefaced it by saying that I think it's unlikely. I don't think his seat is that hot right now, but if he has another poor year, it could get hot. Similar situation with number 4, and this is probably the most surprising name on this list, but I'm going to give it to you. It's Mike Gundy. And that might be a hot topic, might get some people to disagree with me.
I like it.
But his team was awful last year, and they didn't have a quarterback. They relied too heavily on Ollie Gordon, but they were so bad, so bad. When West Virginia walks into your stadium and beats you, a Neil Brown team beats you by like I'd have to go back and look at it, but I think we beat them by 3 or 4 touchdowns. That is embarrassing, embarrassingly levels of bad. And it's Mike Gundy, and he's obviously the best coach that they've ever had. He's an Oklahoma State grad, and so you don't like to fire someone like that. And there's donors that are going to support Mike Gundy regardless of what he does. And
well, he took a pay cut. They cut his contract down. So I mean, he was
fair enough.
He was on the verge of getting fired last year. I love it.
Yeah. So I don't think it's that far-fetched, but I do think it would be tough to fire him. But I do think if he has another bad year, he's just been so up and down. Like 4 or 5 years ago, he had a great year, then had a bad year. Then 2 seasons ago in 23, I think he put up 10 or 11 wins. And then last year, just terrible. He's been so up and down, inconsistent. And I think if he has another bad year, like his seat, kind of similar to Lance Leipold, is going to start to get really, really hot pretty quickly.
I think, too, you touched on it. There's no premier team. There's no premier brand in the Big 12. This was Oklahoma State's chance last year to jump and take a chokehold on we are the Big 12, and they fell on their face.
Yep. So that's what I got for number 4, Mike Gundy. Number 3, I think I'm actually going to flip-flop 2 and 3 here because I think the person I have at 3 is actually a little more likely to get fired. So I'll do number 2 here. Dave Aranda at Baylor. Had that incredible season a few years ago and then really hasn't done much since. Kind of just been very mediocre. And there's really not much to add there. He's just been very mediocre after having one good year 2 or 3 years ago. So I think he could possibly be on the hot seat if he has another bad year. Number 2 and number 1, I think, are already on the hot seat. Number 2, I got Brent Brennan over at Arizona. Last year was only his second season at Arizona, and so you always say, give a coach 3 or 4 years. I don't know that we're really in that era anymore. I think teams are much more of the win now mindset. But Arizona had all the tools on paper to have a great season last year and went 5-7. And, from the quarterback wide receiver duo with what was the quarterback's name?
Noah Fafita and then
McMillan.
Yep.
At receiver. 2 unreal talents, and they did nothing. Now, I say nothing in the sense that they did nothing to win games. They both put up good numbers, but they didn't win games. And so I think at the end of the day, you got to look in the mirror and say, okay, we had all this talent. What went wrong? That was another team that West Virginia went on the road to Arizona and destroyed Arizona. Arizona tried to mount a late comeback, but West Virginia controlled that game with its backup quarterback. So it's just like, what? You have all this talent, and there's nothing to show for it. So I think he is absolutely on the hot seat going into this year.
And Cam, how much of your rival from across the state just turned it around in 5 minutes affects that too?
Oh, yeah. With Dillingham, Dillingham is no one saw that coming. And for that to be your biggest rival whether you be in the same conference or not, for that to be your biggest rival and they turn around a 2-10 season into a playoff appearance, I mean, you're going to be expected to achieve the same levels of greatness there. And they were very much so underwhelming last year. So I think he is absolutely entering the hot seat, entering the season on the hot seat. And then number 1, Scott Satterfield at Cincinnati.
He sucks.
Just a bad program. And I will eat a little bit of crow here. I was hoping when West Virginia made its last coaching decision to hire Neil Brown, I was hoping they would look at Satterfield, and I'm glad they didn't, because Cincinnati is a bad football team. I feel like I'm getting into a little bit of a theme here, but West Virginia went into Cincinnati last year and destroyed them as well. So I that's kind of my barometer, sadly, is that West Virginia had such a bad team that if they're going into your house and dominating your team, there's a problem there. So Scott Satterfield absolutely entering the season on the hot seat.
I like it, Cameron. It's a good list. I think.
Can I just ask real quick, Cam, was Joey McGuire not a thought here in any of these top 5?
Why?
I don't really think so. He's winning 8 games a season.
And y'all just dumped
he's
up.
He's got a $20 million payroll, and if he doesn't win 10, he's going to get canned.
They got a dump truck full of money. They're going to be fine.
What if he doesn't win with it?
They almost lost ACU.
But they didn't.
But they did.
Here's the thing with Texas Tech. They almost lost to ACU, and I absolutely would have been on the, okay, Joey McGuire's absolutely on the hot seat. I would have been in that camp. But they turned it around after that. I mean, Landon, if you remember last year when I went through my Texas Tech preview, I said Texas Tech was going to win its first 6 and then lose its last 6. And they proved me wrong. They won 8 games. So sadly, Landon, that's really all you got to do at Texas Tech is win 7 or 8 games.
But whenever you got $20 million behind you,
and I was going to say that there is a lot of money, there's a lot of support, and that does move the needle. That changes your expectations.
Yeah.
But I still think that if you're able to win 8 games, like there's no reason to pull a Nebraska and fire Tom Osborne when he's not going to the national championship every year. You know what I mean?
Tommy Tuberville and Cliff Kingsbury both won 8 games there.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
Like it kind of goes back to the grass isn't greener on the other side. You know, you may fire a coach thinking we got to win more games, but is the next person really going to come in and do that?
I can assure you, with the money they're putting into the team that they're going to put on the field in 2025, 8 wins will get him fired.
Okay.
And just to add to that, Cody Campbell, who is the money behind the Texas Tech football program,
just
was elected the chairman of the board of regents.
So has that always been the expectation there, or are the expectations changing because the funding?
I
think
it's also the vacation of Texas. I think the vacation of Texas, it's like, oh, well, Texas Tech needs to run this conference now.
Yep.
So I could absolutely see that. And when I was looking at the coaches in the Big 12, Joey McGuire was kind of like out there for me, but I don't know that he's like on the hot seat, in my opinion. But obviously, Landon, you are much closer to that discussion, and you might have more insight there. But it
would not surprise me to see Joey McGuire be the first Big 12 coach fired this season.
And I don't.
Depending on results.
Here's my thing.
Sure.
My opinion here is that he shouldn't be on the hot seat. He very well could be, but I don't think he should be.
There you go.
I'm saying if they start 1-2, 1-3, you're going to hear some rumblings.
Now, here's my thing. I think Cameron's putting it like correct here is that with the amount of money they dumped into the roster, I think they believe in him enough to say, all right, let's see what you can do with this. Now, I agree. If he goes 6-6, 5-7 with this roster that they've put together,
you
then
can't
it's like,
win 8 games with this roster.
Yeah,
you have to win 10.
Yeah. So then at that point, then yes. But I think for a preseason list like this, I would sit there and say, this is probably something we shouldn't put him on the hot seat for. He's probably like a mid-season, like, let's wait and see.
The expectations that I have heard out of this roster are college football playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That is the expectation for the fall. Is it realistic? I don't know.
And it's a wide open conference to go get.
Yeah. It's easy enough. I mean, just go freaking win the Big 12.
Yeah,
I
but
would
no,
like to point
that's
out,
the
though,
thing,
Tommy Tuberville lasted 3 seasons. Kingsbury was there for 6, and then Matt Wells was gone after his 3rd season.
That's the thing, though.
4 is the magic number in Lubbock.
You can't get an at-large, though. I don't know if the Big 12 is going to get an at-large. So, like, if he goes, let's say he goes to the Big 12 championship game and he loses, then do you fire him? Probably not. But I mean, like, they have a playoff caliber roster for that conference. The gateway is there. They just have to go and find it and go. But I mean, I don't know.
I'm just going to tell you, when we do our conference winner picks in the fall, I'm picking Texas Tech, and you know how much that hurts my soul, but I'm picking Texas Tech to win that conference.
I feel like you're doing it to, like, hedge a bet.
No, who else is going to do it?
I have no idea.
Arizona State.
A year ago, though, none of us would have said that.
Hunter, if we go to the Big 12 championship and then don't get an at-large bid after not winning, then we go back to 2014 of the Big 12 being pissed off at CFP for not including another Big 12 game.
Great year, by the way.
All right.
Yeah,
There's the Big 12 list. Well done, Cameron. I like it. Zach, do you want to go with your Big 10 list, or you want me and Jordan to hit up the SEC?
No, I got it. Yeah, I can
We'll hear it.
knock out the Big 10 here. Or
Kirk
Big
Ferentz.
18. Yeah, the Big 18, if you're wondering. Should we address that first? Kirk Ferentz is not on my list.
Yeah, not on the hot seat.
What?
18 wins in the last 2 years probably keeps
Is
you off the
he-
list.
Is he the longest tenured active coach right now? He is, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
And second is Mike Van Gundy.
Stan Van Gundy.
Jeff
What did I
Van
say?
Gundy.
You said Mike Van Gundy.
I said Mike Van Gundy. I was absolutely thinking. I was thinking
Mike
NBA.
Gundy.
I had the freaking.
Basketball.
God, I had the freaking stupid play-in game.
He's a man.
First
He's
of all,
40.
It is
First of
April.
all-
It is April. So.
You
First
come
of
at
all,
me. Don't come
play-in
at
game
us.
is so stupid. They need to get rid of this dumb shit. Sorry.
The
Yes,
Lakers are the
Mike
only team to ever have an
Gundy.
advantage for that, by the way.
Mike Gundy is second. Yeah. But yeah, no. Kirk is not on the hot seat. The only
Never
reason,
will be.
No. He will no longer be the coach when he retires or dies. So there you go. Okay. I'll start with 5. And this might be a little controversial. The Big Ten's turned over some names here over the last couple years. And so it was hard to put some of those guys on the hot seat versus just having pressure on them. And some are different types of pressure than they are literal hot seats. So number 5, I have Deshaun Foster from UCLA. I know he's only in year 2, but after the Chip Kelly stuff and promoting him to head coach and the BS that happened at the Big Ten media days, and then for them to win 3 Big Ten games, I am not convinced he can recruit. And so I think that will be the problem for him, because I looked at their schedule. 3-4 wins is very doable for UCLA this year. So if they go worse in year 2 than year 1, UCLA might have the quick hook that maybe some of those other Big Ten schools, traditional Big Ten schools, don't have, because I would probably argue the Big Ten has the longest maybe grace for coaches of any conference in the country. You know what I mean? I feel like they don't do a lot of quick hooks as much as other leagues do. So I'll put Deshaun Foster at 5. But I think they'll go another way if they only win 3 or 4 games. Anyway. Number 4, I thought about not putting him on this list, but I'm going to. Matt Rule Nebraska. I think pressure is always there because that school has this crazy make-believe dream that they're relevant and that they have been for 30 years. They are the Dallas Cowboys of college football, except not as many people watch them. And so he's been fine. He's been 12-13 in 2 seasons. Nebraska's one of those Midwest schools that's like, no, we got to win. We got to win. We're Nebraska. We got to win. I think expectations for them are anything less than 8 wins would be disappointing this year. And the problem with that is they went to their first bowl game in like 10 years last year. So like, what are you doing? I think they've had slight improvements, not enough. They're going to, they're just going to keep rolling out with Patrick Mahomes' son. And we'll see if he's any good, but I think there's a lot of pressure on him, even though I think he was a good hire at Nebraska. And I think if they gave him a leash, he could be fine over the course of his time there. But I think Nebraska's just, they've just got this ludicrous thought process that they're this, prolific program still, and they're just not. Number 3, and I honestly could put him higher, but I'm going to leave him at number 3. Luke Fickell at Wisconsin.
Come on.
It has to be. He's Wisconsin typically, likes their coaches, sticks with them. But he's been 13-13 in 2 seasons, and they won 5 games last year. Wisconsin doesn't accept that. They are very similar to Iowa. I would argue those are 2 very similar programs. They put a lot of linemen, a lot of running backs. They play good defense. They put a lot of those guys into the NFL. They have they're kind of an old school way of playing football. They win games with their defense, with good special teams, with consistent offense, and they can run the ball well. And they just aren't doing any of that. Wisconsin missed a bowl game last year for the first time in 22 years. That is not allowed at Wisconsin. They are not expected to win a national championship, but you cannot go 5-7 there. Huge roster overhaul this year. They're installing a new offense. I was reading up on a little bit of that, and their schedule sucks. I don't know if you guys saw this. Why would you? But their 2025 opponents, tell me how many. These are just the ones I know for sure they have a chance of losing. They play Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, Iowa, and Indiana.
Fuck.
That's half your schedule.
You need to win the rest to get bowl eligible.
Because you're not winning all of those.
Right.
Maybe you're winning one of those. I mean, that's a whew. They did the home and home thing, or if a neutral site, I don't remember, with Alabama.
It was a home and home.
Oh, man, they're drawing a rough batch from the Big Ten this year. So I think there's a lot of pressure on him. He's not a Wisconsin guy. He's an Ohio State guy. I think there's a chance there.
Who's the new OC?
Oh, crap. I just read it. Hold on. Let me look it up.
I'm going to tell you my thoughts. It's a fit thing. He's not a Wisconsin fit. You just touched on it there with he's an Ohio State guy. But Wisconsin and Iowa, it's a great comparison. They're going to 3 yards in a cloud of dust you on offense, and then they're going to punt. They're going to play defense. They're going to win 21-17.
Yeah.
And they're going to beat you by being the more physical team. And he came in there and he hired Phil freaking Longo. And they're like, you know what we're going to do at Wisconsin? We're going to air it out, baby. And everybody in Wisconsin was like, you can throw a forward pass. And then that's what it's been like for the last 2 years. I love that pick at 3.
Jeff Grimes is the new OC. He previously was the OC at Kansas, Baylor, and BYU. I don't know the years.
See, and that to me is another spread them out and air it out. I don't know.
I think it's hard to transition a program like that.
Oh, and they picked up Tyler Van Dimes out of the portal. I'm pretty sure.
You're gonna air raid it when it's 9 degrees up there in Madison in
yeah.
November against.
When the ball's frozen, it flies further.
but how many running backs have they put into the NFL?
Well,
How
a
many
shit
linemen
ton.
and tight ends and defense?
It's
They're
not
a
the
great
identity of the
program.
program.
They're a great program, and he's just there's pressure on him for sure.
Yep.
I could have put him at number 1 if I'm being honest, but you'll probably understand my number 1. Number 2, Mike Locksley at Maryland, and the reason I put him a little higher is because he's going into year 7. If they don't get to a bowl game, if they're not like average, you got to be done. He's 30-36 in 6 years.
Oh, that's
bring back Ralph Friedgen.
Like, I know they had like little Tua and he got people in the door and whatever, but he's had 0 breakout years in 6 years.
Maryland is the poster child for, oh, hey, look, it's 4-0 Maryland versus 4-0 Ohio State. Can the Terrapins do it? And the game is over.
They went 1-8 in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
They were 3-0 and then finished 1-8.
That's
like, no. You got to get rid of this guy. They've already switched men's hoops because they had to. And they're going to, I think they're going to be bad, and I think they're finally going to be like, 7 years is probably long enough. So
I like it.
That's 2 recruiting cycles. You can't you can't do that. So if he wouldn't have been there for 6 years already, I would have put him maybe lower than Fickle. But because he's going into year 7, fucking hot seat. Number 1, I don't feel like this is I don't really feel like you can argue here. I feel like if it's not Lincoln Riley, who is it?
See, you left Sharon Moore off the table, and I thought he was going to make your top 5.
Nope, he is on my pressure list.
Okay,
not my hot seat list.
Right.
I don't think he will get fired. I think he will move into the hot seat if they have another bad season.
All right, back to Lincoln Riley.
I think because remember, Michigan has longer hooks for their dudes.
That's fair.
They just do. They gave Jim Harbaugh. He went he lost like his first 10 games to Ohio State. So I think they there's pressure on him for sure. But the way they finished the year last year, I actually think they might be okay.
Yep.
Lincoln Riley, maybe not a bigger disappointment in the last 3 years than USC. I know Jordan probably has some strong opinions about this that I cannot wait to hear.
All I can say is I told you so.
Yeah. I think I will say this. I'll give him a little bit of props. They have done a much better job in the last probably 18 months of recruiting California, which is where USC has really struggled lately, and that's just not acceptable there. You got to win that fucking state. Like, who else? You shouldn't be getting – you're USC. You shouldn't be getting dudes poached from your own state. So I think that's been better. But, I mean, good God. They went 7-6 last year. They had the Heisman Trophy winner and still weren't very good. He's 25-14. And how many losses did he have at Oklahoma? 4? You can't do this at USC. They hired you to win, and they haven't sniffed a playoff. Not even come close.
Turns out when you're not playing Baylor every year, things get a little bit harder.
Turns out 4-5 in the Big Ten is about right for USC. And they should have lost to Iowa. But anyway, so I think that's without question who needs to be number 1. The expectations there are what they probably should be, because I view USC in the same regard as I view what Nebraska thinks they are. So that's my number 1. I did have a few that are like my pressure coaches. I weirdly think there's a lot of pressure on James Franklin at Penn State this year. I think they should win the Big Ten.
Wow.
I think
that's
they should.
A hot take.
I think they have the best quarterback coming back.
I still am not sold on him.
I think there's a lot of pressure in Happy Valley this year. I am not saying they're going to fire him if they don't win the national championship, but I do think they have high expectations after making a short run in the CFP. So
can we talk for a minute? Can you give me your top 3 there one more time, Zach?
my 3 on the hot seat, my 5 on the hot seat, Lincoln Riley at USC, Mike Locksley at Maryland, Luke Fickell at Wisconsin, Matt Rule at Nebraska, Deshaun Foster at UCLA. But I have pressure on James Franklin. Jed Fish at Washington's got a lot of pressure on him this year. And then I also had Moore at Michigan with a lot of pressure on him.
Can we talk about like 4 years ago? Specifically, Lincoln Riley, Luke Fickell, and Matt Rule. Those 4 guys would have been considered untouchable at that point.
And they've both been in the NFL and back to college
And
since.
And Luke Fickell and Matt Campbell, I guess, were these crazy hot names. They were going to go take over big programs and take the torch and run with it. And now Luke Fickell can't cut it at Wisconsin, dude.
Yeah. It's weird in the Big Ten right now.
Lincoln Riley, outside of Oregon, Lincoln Riley has the most resource football team in that conference, and he can't win there.
Yep.
It's insane how far those guys have fallen and how fast.
How can you not recruit kids to Southern California?
It's the easiest pitch in the entire world.
I don't understand that.
We literally have movie stars and beaches, dude. Sometimes both.
Yeah. Matt Leinart was like, I was never going to go anywhere else.
No.
Are you kidding me? I set foot on campus and was like, what? So anyway, but I'll be curious. I'll be interested to talk more Penn State with you guys as we get closer to the season, because I think there's a lot of pressure up there.
I want to dive into that when we get closer to the season. But I like the list, Zach. I like the pressure list too that you put there. Me and Jordan. Obviously, he's a Texas fan. I'm
Jeff Lebby, number 1.
Yes. Steve Sarkisian not on the hot seat.
Hold on. Weird. I'll run through the list. I sent Jordan my 5. Jordan sent me his 5, and then we combined our list to come up with a group discussion for a 5.
So were they similar or no?
They were pretty similar.
Pretty similar, but I will say this. Number 5, I had we have a tie at 5. I have, for the SEC, our hot seat, number 5, I have Mark Stoops at Kentucky was my pick.
I had Jeff Lebby.
Jordan put Jeff Lebby.
Okay.
Here's my pitch for Mark Stoops, and I'll say my one sentence on Jeff Lebby that I sent to Jordan in a text message, and he can elaborate on Jeff Lebby. I think Mark Stoops is on the hot seat not because he's underachieving at Kentucky, because he was allegedly had taken the Texas A&M job.
Mm-hmm.
Then he ends up he gets it taken away from him because the fans outraged over the hire.
Then he won 3 games.
And then comes back and only wins 4 games.
Yeah,
and that's not good. And then also, too, they continue to go to the well of the transfer quarterback, and they have an awful hit record on that because they're bringing in, I hope you remember this name, Zach Calzada is their starting quarterback.
Gross.
The dude's been at 18 colleges at this point.
Yeah, he was at UIW for a minute.
He was at UIW most recently. Now, he's gotten better since he started his career, but, you're rolling that guy out there? I know my team's not any better, but Jesus Christ.
You talk about a dude living off of one moment. When he beat Bama, he has made a lot of mileage out of that.
He is, So I think Mark Stoops is on the hot list. I think Kentucky, he's been there over a decade. He's the longest tenured SEC coach. I think at this point, Kentucky, if they have another 4-win season, they might just be like, let's just try with somebody else. John Summerall at Tulane is a Kentucky guy. And if Tulane has another good season, I could very easily see him making that move there.
Tulane has another good season. He's going to a bigger place in Kentucky football.
I think he's an alum, if I'm not mistaken. So I know it's a name that people pitched when Mark Stoops was on the hot seat last year. So I put him at 5. Jordan put Jeff Lebby at 5. Here's my one sentence that I sent to Jordan, and this is why I did not put Jeff Lebby in my top 5, because it's year 2. I told Jordan, I said, as long as he wins one SEC game, he's safe. That's it. He has to win 1, because if he loses all of them again, that's 2 years in a row without a single SEC win. At that point, you have to go because obviously you're not getting it done. But if he wins 1, he's fine.
All right, I'm going to tell you why I didn't put Mark Stoops in my top 5, and that's because he's got a $40 million buyout. Kentucky is not paying a $40 million buyout for a football coach. They're just not.
Fair point.
Jeff Lebby, on the other hand, he's, like it or not, Hunter, you might want to mute yourself for this part, but he's been in Lane's shadow the entire time he's been there so far. The Cowbells, very, very quiet in 2024. They had no offense. It's going to get to the point because he was the athletic director's boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't win some games this, and I'm not saying go win 8 games, I'm saying go win an SEC game. If he starts off SEC play 0-4, then all of a sudden you're talking about his job and the athletic director's job. You think the athletic director's not cutting bait at that point?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, I know you don't know it, but here's our home schedule for our SEC home game.
Lay that on me real fast.
Tennessee, which that just got easier maybe. Tennessee, Texas, Georgia, Ole Miss.
They're not winning a home football game in conference.
That's a home. Oh, and also too, one of our home non-cons, the defending Big 12 champion Arizona State Sun Devils.
They're not. That's 5 losses off the bat.
Oh, and then our road schedule, if you want to go down that rabbit hole, we have to go to the Swamp and play Florida, to Missouri, another 10-win team. We have to go to Arkansas, and I think I'm missing.
Pittman's got more talent, at least.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Here's your 2025 schedule: at Southern Miss, home versus Arizona State, versus Alcorn, versus Northern Illinois, versus Tennessee, at A&M, at Florida. Home for Texas, at Arkansas, home for Georgia, at Missouri, home for Ole Miss.
They're losing 9 football games, dude.
Yep.
They're not winning an SEC football game.
We did not.
That's on beating Southern Miss and Alcorn State.
No. We did not win. We did not lose an SEC game by single digits last year. So
you're not going to this year either.
My 2 things are win an SEC game. Show me that you're getting better, and I can live with you for another year. Because the question I always do with these hot seat lists, who are you going to go hire? Because if you run Jeff Lebby out of town after 2 years of not winning an SEC game, who realistically wants to take that job?
Somebody else will.
Somebody will, but like, who are you going to go get? So, yeah, that's why I didn't put him on the hot seat list. It's going to be a rough 12 games. We're not getting more than that. I mean,
I think he's going to be updating the old LinkedIn profile real soon.
I mean, the Tennessee thing gives me hope that maybe we could stumble across that one if they don't find somebody in
Tennessee
the portal.
Without Nico is a light years. They're going to beat Mississippi State by 30 without Nico.
They probably could. I don't know. I didn't put him there because I was giving him the grace, but I mean, you make valid points. I'm not arguing against you. I know we suck, so it's just rough.
Let's talk about number 4. Because this was my number 2, right?
I didn't even put him in my top 5. I want to hear your opinion on this, Jordan, why you think you put him at 2. I had him at 4, so that's what we got. We came to the consensus. I didn't have him on at all, actually. That's why we put him at 4. Billy Napier at Florida.
Billy Napier.
Why?
Florida's been down that road. They've won national championships. They fired Dan Mullen because he couldn't cut it. They're just not what Florida is, man. They're just not a good football team.
They finished well. They have DJ Lagway. I think they're going to be fine. The schedule's tough, but I think they're going to be fine.
If Lagway's ass or if Lagway gets hurt, then what do you have? He's 15-18, dude. He's not good.
He's not good, but I mean that's true. He had Anthony Richardson and went 6.
And they missed a bowl game and had losing records in both of his first 2 seasons.
They didn't miss a bowl game his first year. This whole team just sat out of the Las Vegas Bowl.
Okay, call it what you want.
Yeah, he went 6-6.
All I'm saying is his success depends entirely on DJ Lagway, and if Lagway's for real, it buys him another year.
It's a good basket.
If Lagway has an ounce of, well, what else do we have? It's nothing.
It's a good basket to be putting your eggs in. I like DJ Lagway a lot. Maybe that's just me going goo-goo over him, but I think he's really, really good. I can see it. I just didn't put him in my top 5. This is one that I put in my top 5, but I put him lower than you, but we put him 3 on this list. And I see why, but I have an argument of why I don't think he's going to get fired. It's got to be bad.
3, right?
Kalen DeBoer, Alabama. Number 3 on the hot seat.
Oh, right.
Let me hear it.
Man, you never want to be the guy that follows the guy. You want to be 2 guys after the guy. You don't want to be the guy at Texas that follows Mac Brown, right? You damn sure don't want to be the guy at Alabama that follows the best football coach of all time. Kalen DeBoer, man, it has not been smooth sailing for old Kalen since he left Washington. Alabama's used to winning football games, man. And if they don't get back to at least conference championship form pretty quick, I could see. I think that there will be other sexier names that will draw their attention.
My only thing that's holding me up on Kalen DeBoer is his athletic director.
Mm-hmm.
Very good track record of hiring coaches.
Yep.
Very good track record of making sure that he is firing somebody for the right reasons. I think if Kalen DeBoer does what he did last year, I don't think you can justify it. I think him getting Ryan Grubbs, maybe. I don't know how to say his last name. I can't remember his last name. He was the OC that he had at Washington when they went on their playoff run. He was at Seattle for the Seahawks last year. He's now at Alabama. I think that helps. They have quarterback questions because I don't like Ty Simpson. I think he's
But they
overrated.
always do at Alabama.
But here's the thing about Alabama: you don't need a difference maker. You just need a
need a
play
bus driver.
caller. You just need a guy. So as long as they can just have a dude that doesn't turn the ball over and just hits the right receivers at the right time, he's fine.
At this point, though, I think Alabama might be the fourth most resourced school in their own conference.
Which is that's news to Alabama.
Which is nuts to think about. But Georgia, Texas, and A&M are pouring money into their football program. They are printing money for their programs.
Oh God, yeah.
Alabama's behind on that, dude.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a recruit and you're choosing between Georgia, Texas, and Alabama right now, Alabama's the easy one to take off the list.
Yep, 100%. 100%. They fell back to earth, and it's going to be interesting to see how they continue to go there. Number 2, I wanted to put it number 1, but we both had the same number 1, so I was like, we got to keep it there. Yeah, I don't even think you had this guy in your top 5.
I didn't. I don't know how we both had Hugh Freeze at 3, and then he didn't make the combined top 5.
He got diagnosed with prostate cancer. I didn't feel right with him being on the list there.
What have you done for me lately? That's the business he's in.
It's true. That's fair, but I didn't want to put him on here. So
kind of a dick move to hire him or to fire him right now. But
yeah. All right. Well, John Cohen probably would. All right. Brian Kelly at LSU at number 2.
Come on.
There has never been a weirder fit in my lifetime of a coach than that idiot from Notre Dame coming down to Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
It was doomed from the start, man.
And I know that you had a Heisman Trophy winner, and I know you had one of the most electric offenses in the country, but you turned around, your defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. They were awful. The only reason they won games is because Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors scored 50 points a game. He is in an absolute pressure cooker this year because he's pissed off fans. He keeps losing the first game of every season, and immediately they all want him fired after he does so. Yeah, he won the SEC West his first year there. He had a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. He has Garrett Nussmeier this year, and he's a gunslinger. They're going to throw it around the yard, but can he get over the hump and actually win the big one is my question. That's why I think he's there, because they're not going to put up with his bullshit for too much longer. LSU will go fire him and get rid of him and go get somebody else, because the Cajuns, when you piss them off and lose them, they're not coming back. And that's all I got to say about that. Or you got anything else?
No, I have said for like a decade, I think Brian Kelly is one of the most overrated coaches in college football. Mm-hmm. Him going to LSU never made sense. It seemed like they were finally turning a corner at Notre Dame, and then he bolted and broke out a fake accent, and it's been downhill since then.
Me and my family. I don't know why
I can't wait to obliterate number 1.
And his replacement went to the national championship game.
Yeah,
dude,
that does not help.
Talk about winning that deal, Notre Dame. Good job. Number 1, Jordan, take it away.
You want me to start here? Because I'd love to.
I'm just going to piggyback off of what you say because we had very similar thoughts. Go ahead.
Is there anybody in the country that wants a do-over on conference realignment more than Brent Venables in Oklahoma right now? That dude would love to be playing some of those Big 12 teams again. Right? 6 and 7 and 13th in the SEC. We're not playing Kansas anymore, boys.
They did beat the shit out of Alabama, though.
That they did. We just talked about Kalen DeBoer. Brett Venables might be he might be the very first coach fired in all of college football. They are going backwards. There's not a lot coming back that's going to be good for them. They were tied at one point for the most players in the portal. His coordinators have been a revolving door. There's just not a lot for me that I think Venables is the first college football coach fired. And I was actually, as a Texas fan, when they hired Brent Venables, I was like, man, I think that guy's a really good hire. I think he's going to be great for them. He has not been at, and it's going backwards in a hurry, man.
He is banking everything on an offensive coordinator change. And normally the number one sign to me, especially in the SEC, I like Zach's point earlier of how the Big Ten has longer leashes than the SEC does. Very true. The number one sign in the SEC to me is if you are a head coach when you were used to be a coordinator and then you take over the duties of calling the plays from your side of the ball when you weren't doing it before. Brett Venables is calling the defense. Now, that's a good thing for Oklahoma on paper. But again, if you're not like a Mike Leach guy or a Dan Mullen guy, guys that from the jump, they're like, I'm calling the offense or I'm calling the defense, then it's concerning to me when you're sitting there saying, okay, well, I couldn't hire defensive coordinators and coach well enough through them. Let me just do it myself. That to me screams this is either going to go really badly or he's going to be able to ride the ship.
And we're talking about a program that went from, 20 years of Bob Stoops to several pretty good years of Lincoln Riley.
Mm-hmm.
Over a course of 30 years, maybe the two best programs in the country were Ohio State and Oklahoma.
They were the Big 12.
He's got a hefty buyout, man, but Oklahoma will pay it.
Okay, so here's Oklahoma's schedule.
Oh, week 2 is intriguing.
Yeah, so they host Illinois State, whatever. Then Michigan comes to Norman.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Illinois State, Buster's Browns.
That Michigan, that game, it's in Norman?
In Norman.
That
It could be I guess it could be a neutral site, but I don't think so.
No, it's in Norman.
At Temple. Good for Temple for getting Oklahoma to come.
So
Auburn at home, Kent State at home, Texas and Dallas. At South Carolina.
Texas with the best quarterback they've had since Vince Young.
Texas, don't screw up that game.
Yeah.
That would be a game you would screw up because it's Oklahoma.
They always do.
At South Carolina, Ole Miss at home, at Tennessee and at Alabama in back-to-back weeks. Home for Missouri, home for LSU to close the regular season.
Oh.
Oofda.
They're in trouble, dude.
They're in trouble, dude.
You might be onto something, boys.
I think there's a early September Sunday press conference coming in Norman.
Also, Bob Stoops, Iowa guy. Love it.
There you go. Yep. If John Mateer, I think that's how you say his name, the Washington State transfer does not pan out, then yikes. Their offense was
even if they win a few extra games, like what is their absolute ceiling? Is it 6-6?
No, I think their ceiling's 8-4.
I don't see 8 wins as a possibility for that team.
Illinois State, Temple, Kent State. Those are 3.
Those are 3. Everything else is a question mark at best.
Yeah, but I mean, like if those question marks go the right way and the offense is better than what you think it is.
2 years.
Yeah. I'm saying, like, I think that's that's the best case scenario in that situation. That schedule to me is 8-4.
Well, with schedules like that, it's always okay. Shit, we were supposed to win this game and we didn't. Mm-hmm. How many of those do you have? Right. And then how many of we're not going to win this game and we steal it?
If they lose to what last year's Michigan team was, they're in trouble, dude.
Yeah. No, I agree. No, I love it. I love the list. It's going to be very interesting to see. We had some things, too, that I want to talk about in later podcasts come up. Yes, Jordan?
I would like to point out that for the first time in 12 years, Texas football coach is not on the hot seat, and that's a really cool place to be. I forgot what it was like.
I just give it about to week 3.
Yeah, but no, we don't have the backup quarterback problem anymore.
Yeah, it's just Arch.
I can't wait to watch him go. I can't wait to watch him go, man. I'm so excited to watch Arch.
I hope he's what people think he is.
I'm trying to go. Jordan, do you want to go when they come to Starkville and kick our ass?
I'll think about it.
Future Dallas Cowboy, Arch Long.
Didn't he already beat Mississippi State once?
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay. Well, we might lose by, I think last time we lost by 21. Maybe we lose by like 14. That'd be better.
Listen, all I know is they have receivers that can run the route and catch the ball now. So,
Those are two of the essential things that receivers have to do.
Isaiah Bond and Matt Golden could outrun everybody, but there was no possibility of them catching the ball when it got there.
Fair point.
God, I
Let's go.
forgot you opened the season in Columbus. Holy
right they do.
shit. I love it.
Who's
Dang
playing
right.
quarterback at Ohio State?
Your mom.
Thank you.
Could be anybody. Dwayne Haskins.
Quinn
No.
Ewers.
Oh,
No, I guess it couldn't be Dwayne Haskins.
Oh my gosh! I think it's the Alabama transfer.
He said Quinn Ewers.
Jesus,
Quinn
Christ.
versus Arch. That'd be awesome.
That would actually low key be really sick.
Can't wait to watch Arch.
That'll be great. I gotta
Wait,
do research on
Is
that.
Howard done?
Huh?
Is
Yeah.
Will Howard done?
Yeah, he's done.
I guess I thought he had it.
He
I'm
was like
pretty
a
sure if he
14th year
stayed,
senior last year.
I'm pretty sure the favorite to win the job would be the 5-star kid from Alabama last year. I think it's Julian Sayin is his last name.
Maybe they'll get Nico.
Maybe. Hey, look,
Doubt
I
it.
heard you can get him at a Did you
He
say
ain't
something,
going
Landon?
I said saying it, so
Oh, there you go. Atta boy.
It ain't so.
You can probably get Nico on a discount now. All right, boys, let's hang a banner and get the heck out of here. I'm gonna go first if y'all don't mind. Mine's quick because I don't really have a good one tonight because I know Cameron's got a great one. Cameron, you get to finish the show. I have a hang a banner. Here we go. Y'all ready? This is a surprise. Y'all are gonna see it. We're not doing video, but y'all are gonna see this. Hang a banner, Capri Sun. Put your damn drink back in a pouch, you moron.
Ew.
Wait, what?
I was at the grocery store and I got this freaking Capri Sun in a bottle.
No,
This is ridiculous. Okay, it says shake well before drinking. I haven't had this out of a bottle yet. I'm gonna drink this on the podcast. This is ridiculous. Capri Sun is in a pouch. It's not in a bottle. Stop being monsters. Whatever company makes this, who makes this crap?
Hunter,
Capri Sun.
the fact that you picked up a Capri Sun in a bottle and still bought it,
Yep.
that says more about you than
Well, to me, I was like, I gotta at least try it,
Mr.
right? Okay, here we go. Live taste test. I got the only flavor that is actually good.
I hope it's electric.
Pacific Cooler.
It's electric.
See, here's the thing.
It's so good.
The straw is yellow, but they replace that with the top that's yellow. I don't know. Here we
I
go.
hope it's the best thing you've ever put in your mouth.
It's probably not going to be Capri Sun. Put it back in a pouch.
It's going to be great.
Oh no, no. Why does it taste like that?
Good podcasting right here.
It's a good thing that we're not on video because I feel like Hunter is doing like, what do they call it when it's just a bunch of still pictures in a row?
Stop motion.
Stop motion.
Stop motion. I feel like Hunter's Wi-Fi is just stop motion.
God bless.
With like a little random like.
It had an aftertaste that I've never had
motion if
before
you're
with Capri Sun. Is that because of the bottle? I don't know. I'm done. That was
Here's
awful.
the thing. Here's the thing that makes me upset here. They're dumbing it down. They're making it too easy for these kids. The kids these days will never understand the pain of taking your straw and sticking it through the back, and then you're fucked.
Yeah.
But it's not.
There it is.
It's not pain. The satisfaction of doing it right is unlike any other feeling.
That's
like, oh my gosh, I got this straw in here.
If I had to give this a review, Capri Sun in a bottle out of 10, I'm going to give it a 3. 3 out of 10. Put it back in a pouch.
Fun fact: first night I hung out with Herod, I had an alcoholic Capri Sun.
Oh, it's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
They legit had adult Capri Suns chilling in like a Gatorade cooler behind the bar. And I was like, you want to get one? And he was like, I sure will.
Oh, hell yeah, I will.
Yeah,
Still
good
will.
times.
All right, who's next?
I'll go next. When we started the Hang the Banner bit, this was supposed to be done as like a sarcastic thing, something that's not really a win.
Something that Hunter never figured out.
Something that Hunter 30 episodes in is still learning. So with that in mind, I'm going to hang a banner, and I know I'm going to get hell for this.
I'm so excited.
I'm going to hang a banner for misogyny because it is alive and well. Last night alone, I'll start with the old WNBA draft. Sedona Prince didn't get drafted because of allegations of domestic abuse. That guy would have had a signing bonus and a lifetime contract in the NBA already. Just throwing it out there. Okay? So that's number one. Number two, and I already know why Cameron's laughing, a Braves reporter straight up got a girl's phone number on the job while being encouraged by the guys both in the broadcast booth and in the production truck. And all I know is that if this had been a female reporter, she'd have been called all kinds of things and would have been run out of town before the inning was over. Misogyny has had a field day in the last 24 hours, and it's kind of BS, to be honest. So hang the banner for misogyny being alive and well in the workplace.
Some would
Hunter,
say it
spell
never died.
misogyny.
I think there's at least a couple letters in there, maybe a number. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, that's Elon Musk, kid.
Oh,
Got him.
got
All
it.
right, I'm done. I'd
Well
like to
done.
think that was better than Capri Sun.
It was.
Put it in
You
the
go
mouth.
next. I'm going to take a leak, but I'm coming back because I want to hear Cameron's.
Go ahead, Zach.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I would like to hang a banner for private media sessions because apparently the Dallas Mavericks had a private media meeting today on Tuesday, April 15th, where it was a select invite of certain reporters, not stations, just individual reporters, to discuss the Luka trade, which happened a while ago.
24 hours notice.
24
No
hours.
phones allowed.
Mhm.
No recorders allowed.
Correct.
Pen and paper only.
So, like, has Nico Harrison like put up security around his house yet? Because he probably should.
I mean, he should.
Did you hear any of the things he said in this private press conference?
Apparently, he said defense wins championships
Yep, keep going. It gets much
multiple
worse.
He
times.
doesn't regret.
There's zero regret of the trade. And then I'm looking at this quote.
Yeah.
Part of my job is to do the best thing for the Mavericks, not only today, but also in the future. And some of the decisions I'm going to make are going to be unpopular. That's my job, and I have to stand by it.
Gracious.
Yeah, he also brought up Dirk. He said his job was going to frustrate Dirk.
That's right. I saw that on.
What we don't do is take the name of Dirk in vain.
At least kudos to him for just sticking to his guns.
He's never going to have another job in professional
So
sports.
my obligation is to the Dallas Mavericks. It's what the best interest of the Dallas Mavericks, and that's the most important thing. Some of those decisions are going to be unpopular, maybe to Dirk and maybe to the fans, but my obligation is to the Dallas Mavericks. What?
Shut up, bro. Like, you're such a...
Imagine like thinking letting Dirk catch a stray is like
Okay,
the way
literally
to get
the most
fans
beloved
back on your
sports
side.
figure in Dallas history.
So Nico Harrison really is probably headed for the Hall of Fame at this point with the way he's been going.
Congratulations on passing the Cleveland Browns on the worst run franchise in professional sports because
mean,
you're about to be in for a decade of awful.
Oh, yeah. And meanwhile, Kyrie and Anthony Davis played all of 3 games together.
Yeah, and Kyrie's going to be gone. You know what's going to be really funny is when Kyrie decides to go join LeBron and Luka in LA.
Oh, my God. They'll go win the West. That'd be awesome.
Or they could be in the actual playoffs and not have to play a play-in game.
Oh,
They hung a
don't
banner
even
for
get me
that.
started. Don't get me started on this stupid play-in tournament.
I hate the NBA.
There's a good hang the banner there, Zach. Also,
Yeah.
fire Nico.
So frustrating. I'm not
Sell
a
the team.
Mavericks fan, but I became sort of a a backseat Mavericks fan because of Dirk. He's always been my favorite player.
Yeah.
And to watch that happen, because I was like, oh man, they followed trend. They're gonna have Dirk, and then they're gonna have Luka. This is Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. You know what
And
I mean?
they didn't just
Peyton
trade
Manning and Andrew Luck.
They didn't just trade a 25-year-old top 3 or 4 player in the NBA. They legitimately traded the second best player in the history of their franchise.
Correct. Yes. I just
For
you don't
Anthony
trade
Davis.
You don't trade Derek Jeter. You know,
No.
you just don't do that. So anyway, hang a banner down there in Big D.
Luka in LA is going to be electric, though, dude. I'm so here for it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right, I'll go, and then Cam can finish it off with his wonderful hang the banner that we're all excited for.
I'm just going to smile the whole time.
I'm hanging the banner for just a week ago. It seems like a long time ago. For Nick Dunlap, Thursday at the Masters. Shoots a 90. A course record worst score, I believe, for a Masters tournament. Kid goes out there. And I feel for him because I'm sure that sucked. Shoots whatever that is. Is that 18 over, 19 over?
18.
And 18 over. Hit 72. But on the flip side of it, I also want to give him kudos for coming back the next day and shooting a 1 under. He shot a 71 the next day.
That's crazy.
He said that he told his trainer, and his trainer went to Academy that night, bought 100 golf balls of the crappy golf balls from Academy, and just hit 100 balls into the woods at his Airbnb.
Phenomenal.
That is some gritty shit right there. And so that's my kudos on the flip side to my hang the banner for Nick Dunlap. You've earned a ton of respect across the tour for that. You still finished plus 18, plus 17, but good for you. Good
Yeah,
for
they said it was like the second largest difference from a day to another, from one day to the next. I did read, and I don't know if I don't know how true this is, Landon, but I heard the tournament record is like 102.
Oh.
Oof.
But the guy didn't sign his card, so it didn't count.
Oh, I wouldn't have signed that card either.
That's phenomenal.
That never happened.
So it's not legally the record. So I think you're right that was a record.
So he now legally has the record.
If you shoot a 102, do you just like walk off at like hole 15?
That's what he did apparently because he didn't sign his scorecard.
Low key, I would want that. Like I would have signed that.
I would sign somebody else's name.
I would have been like,
I would have
signed
signed
Jordan. About
name.
me for real.
Yeah, I was about to say I'd be Landon Entree that day.
I would have signed Jordan's name because he doesn't play.
I think I don't want to like talk too much. I think I could have at least shot a 90 at Augusta on the front nine.
Stop
on the front nine.
You missed my joke, you moron.
Thank
you cut it out.
I heard your joke. You couldn't shoot 90 on the front nine.
Because I was like, no.
I could shoot 90 on the front nine.
You can putt down the entire course
I think
and
they have to
still get on.
I think they have to call it the first nine.
Yeah.
It is the first nine.
And the second nine. Because back nine is too close to backside.
Way to go, you big stupid idiot.
Yeah, Hunter. And they're patrons.
I didn't say anything about the fans.
A lot of rules.
Hello, friends.
Cameron, hang a banner so we can go home. This is north of 2 hours already.
Are you shocked?
Kinda.
Really?
I'm trying to eat my bowl of cereal, dude.
All right.
Cameron,
it's time.
There's
hang
no
the
cereal
banner.
left.
Do it.
There's no
Hang
milk
the
left.
banner. Colorado football has decided to retire the numbers of Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders.
Yep.
And I will preface this entire thing by saying that they absolutely have every right to retire Travis Hunter's number because what he did is unprecedented. And we likely will never see another season like that, at least for a very, very long time. And his number absolutely deserves to be retired. My gripe is with retiring Shedeur Sanders' number. So where I will start with this.
Cam, quickly on that. Do you agree that Travis Hunter's number should be done this season?
I don't mind it.
Okay.
And honestly, so I mean, where I'll start with this is with the before they announced that they were retiring those two numbers, I will start with the current Colorado retired numbers. And here's why I don't feel bad about getting Travis Hunter's number retired is because a lot of the guys, I mean, there's only 4 on this list. 2 or 3 of them were retired like the very next season. So I don't mind it. I don't care about the timing. If your number deserves to be retired, retire it whenever you want. So my gripe is just whether or not Shedeur Sanders deserves to have his number retired.
He does not.
So the first guy that was ever that ever had his number retired at Colorado is Byron White. Byron White was quarterback and running back for Colorado back in 1936 and 37. Was an All-American and led Colorado to an undefeated season. Very deserving, in my opinion. Second guy here is Joe Romig, offensive lineman, who was a consensus All-American for 2 years and was 3-time first-team All-Big 8. Third guy on here is Bobby Anderson, was a dual threat. He was running back and quarterback as well, and led the team in rushing and passing. And then after his senior year, he was a consensus All-American as well. And then the fourth number that was retired needs no introduction, Rashaan Salam. Rest in peace, Rashaan Salam. Truly one of the best college football players ever, just period. And just a historic Heisman season that he had in 1994. So those are the 4 that they had retired before they decided to retire Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. So now I go into who are the best players ever at Colorado, okay? And here's what I looked up. There are some names on this list that are so much better than Shedeur Sanders. It's ridiculous, okay? You got Cliff Branch, played in the 70s, still has a share for the NCAA record for most punt and kick returns for touchdown in a career with 8. His number's not retired. You also got Philip Lindsay, incredible running back for Colorado. Finished his career at Colorado second in rushing yards and first all-time in all-purpose yards, as well as first all-time in yards from scrimmage. And he's the only Colorado running back with back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Then you start getting into some of the unreal names that aren't retired. Eric Bieniemy at running back. Just unreal numbers that he put up in his time at Colorado. Really, when I started looking at this, I was like, man, Colorado had some just absolute studs at running back over the years that I didn't even realize. You also got Alfred Williams, outside linebacker, was a first-team All-American and still leads Colorado all-time in sacks with 35 and tackles for loss with 59. His number is not retired. You also got actually, that's where I'll stop the list because the next names are quarterbacks. Here are 2 names at Colorado, quarterbacks who should have their number retired from before Shedeur Sanders. And I already went through a list of other players at other positions who deserve it more than Shedeur, but you actually have quarterbacks in the same position that should be retired before him. You have Darian Hagan, who is arguably the best quarterback that they've ever had. Led them to a national title in 1990 and one of the best option quarterbacks ever. threw for over 3,000 yards in his career, rushed for over 2,000 in his career, and accounted for over 50 touchdowns. He was 19-0-1 in Big 8 games and 28-5-2 overall. Just an unreal talent. And then you have Cordell Stewart as well. 2 quarterbacks at Colorado who were just unreal talents. And I'm sitting here looking at Shedeur Sanders' stats, and I'm thinking to myself, there is a reason, you make this analogy, there's a reason why great players don't make it into the Hall of Fame, and that's because it's the Hall of Fame. It's not the Hall of Great, right? Shedeur Sanders was a great player for Colorado. And Herod Snarkin, but he was a great player for Colorado. 2 years, but he was a great player.
Went 13-12.
He
Never
went
won a bowl game.
He went 13-12, never won a bowl game. And in terms of his efficiency, his quarterback rating lines up with quarterbacks like Will Grier at West Virginia. Should Will Grier's number be retired at West Virginia? He spent 2 years at West Virginia, very similar paths that they took. Started at a different school, transferred in, couple years, very similar numbers. Should Will Grier be retired at West Virginia? Absolutely not. It's because of the name on the back of his jersey. And I think it's disrespectful to the history of your program to retire someone's number purely based on the media coverage or the hype that was around the team, not even the hype that was around the team, the hype that was around your dad. And that's just embarrassing for your program, in my opinion, that you're going to retire someone's number based on that. I'm a West Virginia homer, and I think about Pat White. Pat White's number isn't retired at West Virginia. No one should ever wear number 5 at West Virginia ever again, but multiple people have. Pat White won 4 bowl games, 2 of them BCS. He also won the Gator Bowl. He also won the Senior Bowl, was the MVP of that game. One of the best quarterbacks ever in college football. His number's not retired. We were talking about this before we came on. Tim Tebow's number's not retired. Joe Burrow's number's not retired. That should be such a high honor for players who were so elite that you have no other choice but to retire their number. And, talking about Joe Burrow and Tim Tebow, those are guys that I would absolutely advocate for. But to retire someone's number, I'll just go back to this and leave you with this. To retire someone's number who is a good, maybe a great player, but nowhere near some of the other guys that have come through your program, it's disrespectful to your program, and it's a joke. That's
well
all.
done. Well done, Cameron. Well done.
Cam, I got a couple things here for you. You may have said this, but Rashaan Salam had to wait 23 years for them to retire his jersey.
I didn't realize that the two or three of the other guys that were already retired were retired like 1 or 2 years later.
Okay, and then here's a quote I just saw from an article. Shedeur isn't even the greatest number 2 in program history. That honor goes to College Football Hall of Famer Deion Figures, who matched Deion Sanders as a Thorpe Award winner in 1992.
His dad's a coach, dude. I'm surprised they're not retiring Shiloh's number while we're at it.
Oof. It's just a bad look.
It's ego. That's what runs that program. It's why Travis Hunter says he's never going to play football again if he can't play both ways in the league.
You got to be careful retiring numbers in college football, by the way. You got 110 dudes on a team. You got to have the numbers. You got to keep these numbers around. Get too many fucking dudes to...
I hope Colorado wins 2 games next year and people understand the coach that Deion Sanders really is.
I did have a tweet I thought was kind of funny. I'm just going to read it because this is my opinions on it. Because somebody also listed out the same players that Cameron listed out in a tweet. It's actually College Sports Only is the Twitter account. and I commented underneath it and just said, requirements to get your jersey retired at Colorado. Number 1, be the son of Deion Sanders. Number 2, be best friends with Deion's son, basically being Deion's other son, not named Shiloh. Number 3, if you don't meet requirements for 1 and 2, then that's not happening. There you go.
It's just like here's why it's so embarrassing. By retiring his number, it's basically saying, like, we understand our program has been complete dog shit for 30 years.
Yep.
So we're just going to retire the first guy who's worth a shit.
But that was the barometer when he got there, was they've been so bad for so long. So 4 wins is look how much he's turning it around there. That was the barometer when he got there.
No.
Right. Might as well just go ahead and put Deion Sanders in the Colorado Sports Hall of Fame. Like,
Sure.
put him in the Ring of Honor, whatever they got over there at Colorado. I mean, it's only been 2 years, but I mean,
Well, but this is the part that sucks. I think he's doing an okay job at Colorado. Like, it's like you want to root for that because their win total's increasing and he has a Heisman Trophy winner. That should be a great start. And because of all the other nonsense that they do,
the Heisman Trophy winner
I
can be
don't care
patted the
about
guy's
this
stats
anymore. Like, I don't care. You are going to gain so many enemies because of this BS that you do. Because, like, this should have been a terrific foundation. Year 2, you got the Heisman Trophy winner. Now go win games. And it's like, no, I don't care about that. I don't want you to win games. Like, you're doing this bullshit that nobody cares about. Like, it makes it hard to root for him. It really makes it hard to root for him.
Welcome to the club. Landon and I were there 2 years ago.
Well,
Yep. Suck it, Hunter.
I don't know. And you're right. I mean, I guess you could retire Travis Hunter's number, but I don't know. I also thought Ashton Genty should have won the Heisman. So
I feel like
I think Genty played like 3 fourth quarters all year long.
Yeah.
Colorado would be up 4 scores and throwing touchdown passes to Travis Hunter for no reason.
And then they tried to make playing snaps a stat. That's not a stat.
And then they made up a stat to win him the Heisman.
Yeah. So, no. I would say, I mean, if we're going to go ahead and retire Shedeur's number and give Deion, go ahead and put his name on the stadium and give him the keys to the capital city of Boulder, Colorado, right? Am I right, guys? No?
yeah, it is the capital. Yeah.
It is the capital. So,
If 13 and 12 and never winning a bowl game gets your jersey retired, Case McCoy would like a word. Like there's some bad quarterbacks out there that can do exactly that.
yeah, maybe Nico's not asking enough. You know, maybe that's what it is.
DJU is all of a sudden getting a statue.
Yeah, they should retire 5 at Tennessee.
Pat Mahomes isn't retired at Texas Tech.
Because he wasn't worth retiring at Texas Tech. Like,
right. But I'm just saying, there's so many big names out there
it's so dumb.
that haven't been retired because it should be a massive honor.
Yep.
You
Dak
either-
Prescott's not retired at Mississippi State.
And
Yep.
nobody else ever went there.
And he should be. He shouldn't be. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's
I'll wrap
Colorado
this up. We're at 2.5 hours and my wife's asleep already.
it's Colorado doing Colorado things. We are Press Box After Dark. If you stuck with us this long, please hit the follow button and the subscribe button on Spotify or YouTube at Press Box After Dark. Really appreciate it. Landon said it earlier about an hour and a half ago. We're at 30 followers on Spotify, so we'll hang a banner for that. But follow us, subscribe to us on YouTube, Press Box After Dark. Follow us on Twitter. I just read off one of our tweets. I thought it was funny. At PressBoxAD, and you can find PressBoxAfterDark.com, our website with all of our weekly blogs in our Twitter bio. PressBoxAfterDark.com, PressBox After Dark on Spotify and YouTube. Does anybody have anything else?
John Cena still sucks.
It's time for the Sonic drive of the game. And perhaps as far as I'm concerned, the drive of the game may be our drive home from Starkville to Tupelo.
You can't fire me! I got a contract! I'm Rance Wilder!